Alright guys, sorry, give me a second here. You guys know, Kabul, Afghanistan. I gotta get my things all set up. Let me make sure the stream is working. Make sure I've got a microphone here. Uh, make sure all is working well before we get started on the live stream. Uh, I wanted to go over a few things on Demarcus Lawrence's contract. I've got that drawn up here, which I think you guys should be able to see on the tube there. And if you guys don't know what a tube is, back in the day when we was young cats, televisions actually had a tube inside that had to warm up. So when you turn the TV, so when you turn the TV on, it took a little while to warm up, and then when you turn it off, the TV would actually go like this, and there would be like a little dot in the middle for about 2 or 3 minutes. And late at night, when you turn the TV off, it kind of lit the room up. There'd be a little dot there. So that's what a tube is, and that's why we call it that. What's up, fellas? How you doing? I wanted to go over the Demarcus Lawrence contract. It's your war daddy, Cowboy Crunk from Kabul, Afghanistan. Been out watching the other YouTubers out there. Yeah, it is 1 a.m. here. I'd like to do most of my work at night, Stevie Mac. Plus, this is when the news is breaking. As you know, yesterday I did like a 3-hour live stream waiting on this Demarcus Lawrence thing to break. I said earlier in the week, it's going to break, it's going to go down, it's going to happen. And it took all week for it to happen, but it happened Friday, right after I logged off and decided to go to sleep. And I checked my Twitter one more time before I got in the shower, and then I jumped back online. I said, this is about to happen. It looks like they're talking. That they were talking last minute things, and there was numbers. At first it was just 5 years. We heard 5 years for about 10 minutes, but we had no numbers. And I knew once they said 5 years, it looks like there's a 5-year deal working out for Demarcus Lawrence. I knew it was about to go down. Yeah. So I wanted to go over the Demarcus Lawrence contract. I think you guys can see the TV here. If you guys can see that, I can blow this up a little bit. I think, let me see if I can get this rolling here. I've got, besides the fact of having the slowest internet in the world, I've got 2 computers that are fairly old that I need to upgrade, and I'll be doing that once I get home. So I think you guys can see that right there on the TV maybe. Now that I've done that, it won't let me, but anyways, okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. If you're on a phone, you probably cannot, but I wanted to break down how the $105 million contract's gonna work. You guys know it's a 5-year deal. Doing that contract this year, we actually saved, actually let me read the article, a little bit of the article first before I go into all that. So the way the deal works is, you guys know Demarcus Lawrence did his deal, 105 mil, 65 million guaranteed, and the way they break that down is they split that up so you don't get hit. This year we're getting hit for the least amount possible. That throws a clue out there to me. If they're willing to take the hits later, it looks like to me, that leaves us with 20 million cap sitting there right now. It looks like to me they're still interested in picking up a piece, some kind of piece to the puzzle before the draft, because we're sitting there with 20 million still on this year's cap. Now that could mean they're going to use that to take a part of the hit on Amari Cooper's contract, maybe redo his contract or redo. I don't think they'll redo Dak's. I would love to. It's just the fact that he's only making $680,000 this year. He's going to get his money. He's coming up next year. He's going to get quarterback money. We need to try and save as much on that position as we can. Before I read the article, let me hit the check. Hey, Antoine Myers, what's up, brother? How you doing? I saw you had I had a question thrown in on the Cowboys channel. What's his name? Downey. That guy Downey, it was a good question. I respected the question and respected his answer. Great job, man. Lucio, how you doing, brother? What's up, Cowboys Nation in the house? Loose Change, how you doing, man? How you doing, my man? Loose Change. Stevie Mac, I'm starting to think you're a vampire. Yeah, I slightly am. And of course, D-Law signed like 10 minutes after you got up. Yeah, but I came back on. I came back on immediately, and I still was on live before the deal was done. So I was tracking it, man. They're going to be give someone an extension soon since they hardly paid D-Law this year. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There was a reason. What's up, Cowboys X Factor in the house? There was a reason they rolled that money down the road a little bit. And we'll see what that is. We'll see why that is. Anyways, on the deal, 105 million, 65 guaranteed. That's 21 million a year. Thanks to some investigating journalists, okay, I'm gonna skip that part. The breakdown exactly what kind of cap impact was for this deal. Demarcus Lawrence 2019 cap hit will reportedly only be 9.5 million in space. So that means this year, as far as the cap money, he's only hitting the cap for 9.5 this year. Now the way that works out, the reason is the signing bonus and stuff like that. They gave him he gets a $5 million signing bonus every year. The signing bonus equates to 25 million, so he got a $25 million signing bonus, and he'll get 5 million every year. The same way the deal was with Robert Quinn when we were looking at getting him. If you guys recall, he had a $12.8 million salary, but he had a $1.1 million signing bonus. You don't get that the day you sign. They can split that up down the road and give you $5 million a year, or $2 million a year or whatever. If it's a $10 million signing bonus, you might get 2 every year, or you might get 5 and 5 on the first 2 years, or however they want to structure that. But anyways, so year one, Cowboys defensive end Marcus Lawrence, he's getting actually paid according to 31 million the first year. Then over the second year, 48 well, it equates to the total 48 million, 65 million, and then it rolls out those last 2 years. So let me explain where we at here. Those 2 pieces of information to sketch us out. I missed something here. Okay, under the second consecutive franchise tag, Demarcus Lawrence is going to make $20.6 million of cap space, but according to the reports, that will shrink to $11.1 million on the new deal. So 11.1 is actually what he'll get paid additional, but will not hit the cap. Our first clue comes from Demarcus Lawrence first 3 seasons as 31.1 million through 2019, 48 million through 2020, and 65 million which will end the guaranteed through 2021. So that's the reason it works out that way. Those 2 pieces of information allow us to sketch out the following. We don't know if there are any roster bonus incentives. They still don't know if there's incentives in the contract or any roster bonuses for like going over on a certain amount of sacks or playing a certain amount of snaps or anything like that. So we'll have to see. But this really saves us some money this year, guys, and it really leads us to believe the Cowboys are interested in doing something additional this year with that $20 million. It would be nice. It actually would be a fairly good idea to go ahead and get some of the other guys signed or do an extension on some of the guys we've got for 1 year or 2 years, and they're going to play with that, and we'll see after the draft. I would suspect they might hold and do that after the draft to see what's available. We could be, if you look at the 30 visits we had a couple players that were the safeties that were second round selections that they brought in. There was about 4 of those. There was about 2 defensive linemen that they brought in that should be second rounders. So it looks like and there was actually a couple of wide receivers that could be second round picks that they brought in. But for the majority, it looked like there was more safeties than the second position looked like defensive linemen, and then the third position looked like wide receivers. And I think there was 1 or 2 running backs that that actually should fall in the third round. I don't think those were for pick like 58 pick type quarterbacks. Let's see. I think Cooper should be next. That's my call as well. I think Dak they should wait on. He's going to get his money. They can draw the deal out as long as possible for Dak. And I'm talking about his contract. Try to get him to do a 7, 8, maybe 10-year deal if possible. Even I'm okay with that. The way he's played and the way things are rolling. So if you guys can see that, I did it here earlier. Let me roll this down a little bit more. Okay. So I think you guys should be able to see it now. So the way it works out, 2019, his base salary is $6.1 million, and he will get a $5 million signing bonus. Year 2, 2020, $16.9 million base, and $5 million signing bonus again for a total of $21.9 million. And they rolled that down like that, like I said, and that's the reason that $11.1 million is the reason. Originally, if you guys recall, he was going to get paid $20.6 million. That was what the franchise tag was. So now that he's only getting $11.1 million this year, that rolls that other $9.8 million or whatever it is, $9.5 million back into the Cowboys. Back into the Cowboys cap space for this year. That's why signing Demarcus Lawrence, we gained $9.5 million in cap space, which puts us right under $20 million right now. We're right at, I think, 19.6, 19.8, something like that. Grady Dawson, how you doing, brother? Hadn't seen you in a while. What, you don't see me? Hello. Sorry, man. Yeah, I see you, brother. Jared Jablowski, how you doing? Jablonski, I'm sorry. Kay Carasos Henderson in the house. Dude, I'm not good with names. So anyways, that's the way it rolls out. Then it rolls, as you can see, 17 million base in 2021, 5 million bonus. And it gives the total over here on the, which would, for me, it's on the right side. It gives the grand total here on the edge, and gives the signing bonus each year and how things work, and gives you the total here at 1.5 million. So the last 2 years is 20 million with a $5 million signing bonus. And another good reason to roll that out that way is, as you guys know, the cap grows about 10 million a year. So the fact that we're increasing his salary about 3 or 4 million a year, that the annual increase on the salary cap will cover that. So we should be good. It's a really good signing. We got Demarcus Lawrence, which is what we wanted. I know a lot of us were talking about different trade scenarios. We were talking, and we're also talking of all this stuff. I'm going through Twitter, and I'm looking at a lot of stuff I want to bring up. I'd like to bring up Dak Prescott's contract, how they're looking at working that out, and the situation. Everybody's comparing. Hey, I guess C.J. Anderson, 1-year deal with the Lions. So C.J. Anderson, the running back that tore our asses up in the playoffs, has just signed a 1-year deal with the Lions, worth nearly $1.5 million. But he could, with incentives, earn up to $3 million. So that's a good deal for the Lions. I think that's a really good deal. I think C.J. Anderson really showed out at the end of the year. So that's news that just hit the live stream here about 10, 15 minutes ago. I should have been watching a little closer, but back to the Demarcus Lawrence thing. Everybody's talking about how with Dak Prescott's contract, well, we need to see what Russell Wilson's going to do. What are the Seahawks going to do? And as far as Amari Cooper, we got to watch and see what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do with Julio Jones and all those things. To me, and I think the Cowboys need to set this precedence. They need to say, I don't give a damn what the Smiths do across the street. This is my house. This is Jerry Jones' house. This is our money. This is the way I look at it. Every penny the Dallas Cowboys have, every penny they spend belongs to the Cowboy fans until that money is spent. And the reason I say that, we buy the tickets, we buy the jerseys, we pay the bills, we send the money to Jerry. If the team is playing worse shit, we ain't going to be there. I mean, we still support our team. I don't want to say that. But you guys understand what I'm saying. A winning team makes a hell of a lot more money than a losing team does. And when these players come up for contract, when these things roll out, it's important that we don't just do what other teams are doing. If the Raiders decide to pay somebody some ridiculous amount of money, the Green Bay Packers, when they decided to pay Aaron Rodgers that, to me, ridiculous amount of money, I'm not gonna, as a Dallas Cowboy owner, if I was the owner of the team, or if I was the president of operations or whatever, you're not gonna see me look over at the Seahawks and say, well, they paid this guy this, and I'm gonna tell them, look, this is my house. You don't pay attention to what goes on across the street. I'll buy you what I want to buy you. You'll have, your things. Like almost like if you were talking to a child, you would tell them, I don't care what the Joneses have across the street, or we're the Joneses. I don't care what the Smiths across the street have. You're gonna follow what we say. You're gonna, don't compare your salary to so and so's down the street. They're living, that's a different household. That's a different family. You pay attention to what we're doing here in Cowboy Land. And that's the way I feel the Cowboys need to do it. If somebody overpays Aaron Rodgers, if somebody overpays Khalil Mack, or somebody overpays Humpty Dumpty, I don't give a shit. You don't pay attention to what their salary is. If you don't like what the Cowboys are wanting to do, and that was the big problem. Really, that was a big problem with Des Bryant, and I the thing is, they didn't even give him the opportunity to do something, and I don't want to bring those, the Des Bryant thing back up, but they just saw the fact that at wide receiver, he wasn't going to get the catches, he wasn't going to get the targets that he wanted, and no matter what you paid him, I don't think he was going to be happy. That was, we needed to bring a young guy in. That would not interrupt the huddle and not affect the huddle and not affect the locker room with, a get me the ball mentality. We just couldn't have that. Let me check out the chat box. Harlem Cowboy in the house again. Thank you for coming back, my friend. What is this I'm hearing about Gerald McCoy from Tampa? There's money out there. I did think about that, a 1-year deal. I haven't looked into it. I was studying. I was kind of looking at the Demarcus Lawrence contract and how that broke down, how that helped us, how it's going to hurt us in the later years, but it really doesn't, because the salary cap will increase to cover it. But if there's anyone that has looked at that today, it's a possibility. Man, if I don't see that we need any more pieces. We're going into the draft. We just need a couple bodies that are going to play really well. I think at safety, I really think at 58, we could get a safety that's going to come in and probably start. If he doesn't start week 1, he's going to start by week 3, and Chris Richard's going to coach that dude up to a level. I think we could have a rookie Pro Bowl safety. A rookie Pro Bowl strong safety, if we get the right guy, if we do our due diligence and we actually draft the right guy, we're going to have a safety, and at 58 is what I'm concerned about. So plus, look at the Vikings, overpaid for Cousins, and they're already starting to see a downfall from that contract. Yeah, guys, we can't look outside. From my perspective, we cannot look outside the Cowboys facility and see what they're paying other players. Dak is not a quarterback that's going to go out and dominate games and win games for you. He cannot. He's not Russell Wilson. He needs more pieces around him. And you have to sit him down and tell him that. Look, man, we're going to pay you as long as we can. We're going to take care of you. We're going to keep offensive linemen up there. We're going to keep you from getting hit, I hope. We did have trouble with that last year, and that's something we got to fix. But we need pieces around Dak. And what you're going to see in the next few years, pieces are going to start as these contracts in Green Bay, as these contracts start to fall off and start to get towards their end, they're going to be guys that they can't re-sign, and they're going to be guys, if they don't draft well, you're going to see the Green Bay Packers fall off because of the Aaron Rodgers deal. It's inevitable. It's numbers, you know. Joseph Crunxus makes love the fact that we signed D-Law. Now we can be happy when D-Law's being picking when we see defensive end. But yeah, they can pick defensive ends till the cows come home. They're not going to get a Demarcus Lawrence, and you got to think, you know, even if you go through 25, 30 defensive ends in the draft, how many Demarcus Lawrences are there out there right now? There's not very many. And you've had draft years upon draft years, you know, even hitting on a first round draft pick, you know, Javon Clowney, the one that the Browns have. He's a little young. He's coming around. God dang it. He's from Texas A&M. I can remember his school, remember his face, everything. But these guys, just because they're first rounders sometimes doesn't even mean they're a landing spot for the Cowboys or a landing. Myles Garrett, thank you, brother. Thank you, Joseph Sandberg. Just because they're a first round draft pick doesn't mean, you know, this is going to go down like that. Dexter Lawrence is very good. Is that one of the guys I have on here? I think I was looking at a thing on here for Dexter Lawrence. I believe it was. That's a guy I'm interested in, but we'll see. No, Gerald Willis. Gerald Willis is a guy I'm kind of interested in the later rounds. The problem is, if you guys don't know who this is, this guy, he has a kind of Dominican Sue complex type thing, I guess you could call it. He's a beast, but he has some issues with controlling his temper. He's had some fights in the locker room. He's had some other issues. That's him here, guys, at a university in Miami. He was at the University of Florida and basically got kicked the hell out of there. McCoy's on the trading block, but Tampa wants a legit pick for him. Plus, McCoy wants a big contract, not worth it. I think you're solid there, Stevie Mack. Focus on the draft. Would you love to have the guy? Yeah. Would you love to have? It would be nice to go through the NFL and pick every player you wanted and just put them on your roster. But there's a salary cap thing, and you've got to pay attention. You could easily sign a guy. You could easily overpay Demarcus Lawrence, overpay Dak Prescott, overpay Amari Cooper, and you're going to start missing guys. You're going to come up on guys like Byron Jones. You're going to come up on guys like Xavier Woods. You're going to come up on guys that you're not going to be able to re-sign. So we'll have to see, guys, how it rolls out. But I really think the Cowboys have done a good job with Demarcus Lawrence. And like I said, another thing I'm thinking with this Dak Prescott thing, you know, everybody, and I think sometimes the Twitter pages, they try to just roll up the drama and see what's going on and try to create drama when there is none. Because if you're talking about signing Demarcus Lawrence, you're talking about signing Dak Prescott, and you want to get it out of the way before Russell Wilson signs, because once Russell Wilson signs, now Dak Prescott's going to want more money. I don't think you believe in that. And one of the reasons I'll tell you why, think about the Earl Thomas deal. I know I keep going back on history, but history always repeats itself, and history's a good way to look back and learn. We learn a lot of things from history. What happened with Earl Thomas as soon as Landon Collins signed? When Landon Collins signed, Earl Thomas knew he wasn't going to the Cowboys anymore. When Landon Collins signed for $15 million, he knew, out of respect to himself, he had to ask for the same thing, because he had already stated too many times, I want to be the number one paid safety. I want to be the number one paid safety. So when Landon Collins signed for $15 million, Earl Thomas's request for money, his value within himself just went boom. And he said, I want $15 million. And he knew not to even ask the Cowboys. A couple of days later, he signed. So I think there was a stalemate going on with the Earl Thomas thing, and he was trying to hold out and go to the Cowboys. As soon as Landon Thomas signed, and as soon as Tyrann Mathieu signed, the deal was done. He knew the Cowboys weren't going to pay that, and that's a good thing. You know, the Cowboys didn't say, well, now we got to pay him this, and, you know, let's try to renegotiate. The Cowboys said, nope, sorry, that's not for us. And they need to do the same thing with Dak. Dak needs his money. I want to keep Dak. I think Dak is the future. But just because Russell Wilson signs for $30 million doesn't mean we need to pay Dak Prescott $31, or we need to pay Dak Prescott $28. You know, he warrants money close to Russell Wilson, but at this point, he is, and maybe after next year, he could blow up this year and blow us out of the water again. But at this point, he's not playing to the level of Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson signing his contract should have nothing to do with Dak Prescott. That's how I feel. Let's see where we at on. Let me check out things. Mark Sampson, safety and running back for me in the first two picks, but I'd like a big fire hydrant in the middle. Yeah, to me, Mark, on those situations, on these, if you're looking for an immediate impact on a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, my opinion, I like to go with a free agent. I like to go with a free agent, maybe on a 1-year deal, and the reason is, in the draft, it seems like these guys just take a year or two to develop. Unless you look at the guys on our team that didn't take a year or two to develop. They were first round drafted linemen. If you get a guy in the first round, there's a probability he'll step in and play well for you. Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, those guys stepped in. Pretty much immediate impact, Pro Bowlers. You look at the guys that came in the second round. Even the God dang it, the guard we have, our left guard, Connor Williams. Excuse me, Connor Williams. Even him coming in, it's taken him a little time to grow. It's taken Taco Charlton a little time to grow into the position, and I'm talking about both sides of the offense and defensive line, and all, across the board, from defensive end to defensive end, and from tackle to tackle. To me, those guys just take a little longer to grow into the position. Picks 1 through 20, 1 through 17, immediate impact on an lineman. You get down into the 20s, those guys usually take a year. You get down into the 30s, you're talking in the 40s, where we're picking at 58. This guy could take 2 years to get his man strength and get the strength to play offensive line or defensive line in the NFL. I'll be honest, I don't think the Cowboys would sort things out with Demarcus before the draft. No, I didn't know if they were or not, but we were at the point, if we didn't sign Demarcus Lawrence this week, they probably would have started shopping him a little harder. I know they were at least taking offers. You know that other teams see the news. Other teams knew Demarcus Lawrence and the Cowboys were going back and forth. I'm sure there were teams that reached out to the Cowboys and said, hey, what's the deal with Demarcus Lawrence? What would you take for him? You know that had to have happened. There had to be interest. If your neighbor's selling something and you like it and it's beautiful and shiny, you go over to your neighbor and say, hey, what you asking for that? Oh, hell no, and walk off maybe or whatever, or you might be interested. You know it happened. Of course, those things don't come out in the wash, or those things don't come out in the news. But luckily, we got him signed. I'm happy about that. We got him for the price we wanted, and the reason was it was going into his surgery time. He had to do something. If he would have went any longer, the Cowboys would have waited. They would have seen what they could have got for him in the draft. If somebody would have thrown a first and a third at him, and they could have taken the $21 million off the cap, they would have taken the $21 million off the cap. They would have took a first and a third with the first round draft pick. They would have tried to draft a replacement, or they would have combined those picks and tried to move up as high as they could, draft a replacement. You sign that guy for $3 million a year, and you won't have a Demarcus Lawrence for sure, but you have a young, highly drafted, new left defensive end that you can, try to get him to that Demarcus Lawrence level, but you're only paying $3 million. You take that other $17 million you have left, and you go out and you get that big, fat, nasty nose guard that's going to block the middle. You pick you up another guard, or you pick up a free agent defensive end, best one on the market. I wasn't worried about our team as far as the Demarcus Lawrence thing goes. I was concerned that if we had to make trades or he was gone and didn't sign, I was just concerned then about who they picked up and how that played out. We were going to get value for him. The only thing was, how did the Cowboys use that value? Did they use it properly? Yeah, we'd get picks and we'd get money. Exactly, Keith. We should have taken 3 first-round picks. Holy shit! I don't think we would get 3 first-round picks. Maybe there was a possibility we could have got one and a first and a third. I don't know. I don't know what the trade value was, but we could have came out okay on the deal. We might have come out a winner. Who knows? Now we've got Demarcus Lawrence. That's the surest thing. The surest thing is Demarcus Lawrence is there, and we're solid now. So either way it worked, we should have been okay because the Cowboys have drafted well. But we can move on from that now. Now we've got to concern ourselves with signing Dak in the short future, signing Amari Cooper possibly this year. We've got 20 million to use. Do they want to use it and go out and get another guy? We're pretty deep around all the way around the block. We're pretty deep. Safety is our concern, I think, and I don't think there's a safety out there that we want to go get. But I'm really glad the Cowboys, when Landon Collins' contract went up to 15 million, Tyrann Mathieu signed right around the same thing. You notice really quick that Earl Thomas knew he wasn't coming to the Cowboys, and that deal was closed. They had to go a different direction. D-Law and Quinn, bloody excitement. Yes, sir, brother. We're gonna have a Hot Boys as my Hot Boys right there. I got my sunglasses ready. I'll be wearing, when the defense comes on the field, you guys know I throw in the Hot Boys hat. I get the sound effects going. We got the Leighton Vander Esch wolf call. We got the Panther scream. We got, it gets really, really crazy. Yeah, Chris Covington is a sleeper. I'm really excited to watch these guys. I've got my Kayvon Frazier jersey. I've got my Rico Gathers jersey. I really, really support the underdogs because let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you believe in this philosophy, guys, or give me a yes or whatever you guys want to put in there. But my philosophy is to win a Super Bowl, you've got to have a few players that step up, kind of sleepers, like you're talking about Chris Covington. You've got to have a couple sleepers. Antoine Woods played really well last year. Joe Looney played very well last year. Kind of surprising. He wasn't Zach Martin, or excuse me, he wasn't Travis Frederick, but I hope you guys can agree, Joe Looney did not let us down very often. And that's a big thing. If you have those sleepers step up, that's when your team goes to the next level. That's when when the Patriots had that cornerback step up out of nowhere, and he was an undrafted free agent, and he had got cut. I think I don't know the exact situation for and then the Patriots but you've got to have. I shouldn't be talking about a player I don't know his name because it makes me look kind of silly. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You've got to have players step up that just come out of nowhere, and you're like, whoa, where'd this dude come from? Man, this dude, you plug him in, and he's balling. And you're like, man, it really helps your team out, and it's because of the salary cap. That's the thing. Your guys that are pushing the salaries, they have to perform. That's mandatory. But to win it all, you've got to have players that step up out of nowhere, and you look at their salary, and you're like, damn, that dude, we have to pay him. But the thing is, when those players come up, you get some of those players, you can't pay them all. Yeah, we can't, where we at? Oh, thank you, brother. It's something I've always thought, something I've mentioned a few times on my channel, but to me, that's a really, really, really big situation in football when you've got 22 men that you got to count on, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. You've got to have some surprises jump out of there, and play well. And we've had that. Ciafola, the left guard, I think he played well at times. Lyle Collins has been kind of he's been, I guess, played under what I guess his circumstances, what he should be playing. I don't think he's played up to the level he should. And those are some of the guys that, you got to sometimes just plug a guy in, see how he does, man. Hey, pull Lalo Collins out. Let him know his job ain't secure. Put a guy in there, that we got off the practice squad and has been playing good, but you've been nervous to put him in there. Hey, shit, sometimes that guy, he'll get Lalo Collins fired up. You go tell me a guy off the practice squad just took my spot? Maybe it was for a couple snaps, but if he does all right and he don't get no damn holding penalties like your ass be doing, he might be in there longer than that. Malcolm Butler. Yes, sir. That's who it was. Sorry, man. Stevie Mack, you got it every time, man. That's my go-to right there. I get nervous, Stevie Mack. I actually get nervous sometimes when I'm in here doing a live show and you're not here. I'm like, oh shit, Stevie Mack's not here. I hope I can remember everybody's damn name. But the Pats also benched against, they benched him against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I was going to go into that story, and that's why I stopped, because I didn't know, couldn't recall his name. Of course, I know his name, I just couldn't recall it. When you're doing these shows and you've got a lot of chats and you're trying to read, you're trying to pay attention to who's in here, you're trying to respect all the everyone in the chat box and trying to catch things. It's hard to have your brain working over here remembering stuff, have your brain here remembering things and chewing bubble gum and walking at the same time. So the biggest thing I do is I forget names. So I appreciate you guys throwing names at me when thank you, man. And you're using the word mate. Are you Mark Sampson? Are you British or from Australia or just a common word you use? I know I've seen a few Americans use it, especially guys up north. Put in Fleming, dude. Fleming, another one, guys. He played outstanding. I can't say he played outstanding, but to me, if you take a guy off the field like Tyron Smith, you take Tyron Smith off the field, and you have a guy like Fleming step in and play as good as he did. To me, that is outstanding. You can't expect him to play at Tyron Smith's level. And Tyron Smith had some downfalls. There was a few, I remember quite a few holding penalties during special, very, very important times during the game that Tyron Smith wasn't there. But Tyron Smith played well. And for him to step in and play like well to very good, to me, that's outstanding. That's what you need in a backup. You're not gonna have a backup step in and take over 100% what your starter does, especially a damn Pro Bowl All-American, beast of a man like Tyron Smith. You're not gonna have let's Leighton Vander Esch went down. Let's put the backup in. Even though Sean Lee and those guys rotate, you're not gonna have a guy like that come off the field and not notice some kind of fall off a little bit. Always respectful, Crunk. Oh, thank you, man. Dem Boys 85. What's up, brother? But yeah, that's something I really like to key on. Is I really root for the underdogs, because I think the underdogs are actually the players that make your team special. The underdogs are the guys that barely made the team, or they're fourth round, fifth round guys, and that's why I actually like Dak so much. He was a really highly draftable his junior year, and earlier when he was contending for the Heisman and all those things. Mississippi State had never been ranked number one. They were ranked number one nationally. Dak Prescott took them to that. And he had some things that made his draft situation fall off a little bit, and we got him in the fourth round. So that was a big pickup for us. But when you have guys that can come in on the fourth round, the third round, or guys that come off the practice squad, or Jeff Heath. Jeff Heath is an undrafted free agent, guys. And I know we dog him out sometimes. I know we get upset at the angle he takes. But Jeff Heath beat out some guys that were third and fourth round type players. He's beaten out some players, and that's why I respect him as well. Samson, you ever watch the interviews of Peep Show? I believe they're both English shows. Oh, hey, man, y'all getting off subject, man. Birmingham, England. Oh, okay. That's actually the town our attorney is from. We have an attorney from Birmingham, England. So I have been there once. It was a long time ago. But the Peep Show, my favorite show actually of that. I hope I'm not wrong, but Benny Hill was my homeboy back when I was young, man. I used to watch me some Benny Hill, and I know he passed away, I think a few years ago, not too long ago. But that was my homeboy, man. Hey Mac, not the interview, but yes, the Peep Show. What's up, Crunk, D Law, and Quinn? Unstoppable pass rush. I hope so, Mark Hayes. I really think we got something. You know, we've got to. We do need to get more solid in the middle. Um, we got to get more solid in the middle. So hopefully we can do that. Maybe Covington can help us with that. I hope he's a sleeper like Stevie Mack was talking about. And we'll see. Let me check the. Oh, I got a notification. I only have like 12. I think 12 guys on my Twitter that I follow. Okay, yeah. Nothing updated on Twitter other than you guys know C.J. Anderson did sign with Detroit. He signed a small deal, like 1.5 million. He could make up to three million with incentives. So C.J. Anderson, if you guys don't recall, he was the running back that tore our asses up in our playoff game. So but yeah, it's a big part of the game to me to have certain guys like that step up. I was hoping Kayvon Frazier would last year. He got a little bit of playing time in the preseason. I want to see Dak Prescott a little more in the preseason than we saw him last year. I'm hoping that to happen. And it's really quiet. It's a weekend, guys. I hope you guys greetings from the UK. We got two guys in here from the UK. Man, and it's late over there. I'm actually in Afghanistan, Matthew. I'm here. It is 1 a.m. So they're in the UK. I'm just guessing it's probably around 9:30, something like that. Maybe 8:30, 9:30. But salute to you guys too on a Friday night. Shouldn't you guys be out in the pub? Is it Friday night or Saturday night? Saturday night. I apologize. It's a Saturday night, man. You guys should be out in the pub having a Guinness, or a pale ale or some shit. Yeah, 21:30. Okay, 9:30. I just was guessing. Where I'm working from, I have to track a lot of time frames and time zones and shit like that. So, but I appreciate you guys joining in. If you don't know, you've been here a little while. My channel is not currently monetized, but I did go over and check out. There's a page on here that tells you how much your channel is pulling in or how much money it's making a month. I did go ahead and get that monetized. As I've told you recently, I just want to make sure everybody knows that all that money will be going to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to send it to Dak Prescott's foundation. I'm going to send it to Dak Prescott's Cancer Foundation that he has set up for that, I guess, something to do with his mother or his mother's agency or foundation. So I'll be setting that up. So if you guys see anything you guys donate, will be going to that. So my Twitter is the same thing as my. It's just Cowboy Crunk. I think that should look it up. Yeah, it's at Cowboy Crunk with no space. So there's not a lot on there. I don't post too much. I make little comments to some of the Dallas Cowboys stuffs. Dallas Cowboys, The Voice, Dave Hellman, Brian Brodus, The Star, all the normal Cowboy stuff. I only follow them because I try to keep up to date on the changes and get those out. So I am going to jump off, guys. It is 1:02 here in the morning. I'm sure there'll be some other Cowboy live streamers out there. I really appreciate you guys jumping in. Hold on, we got a little news here. Bleacher Report. Sterling Sharp's greatest in the talk about a happy 45th to the dominant one of the most dominant receivers ever. Who's this? Oh, Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp's 54 today. Congratulations, Sterling Sharp. There we go. And new notification. See? Hey, I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you very much. Mark Sampson with the big follow there. Yeah, I try to keep my Twitter really pretty small as far as who I follow. So if I don't follow you guys back, it's because I try to keep it really. If my Twitter pops off 3 or 4 times like this, I know for a fact somebody just got signed, somebody just got cut, somebody just got arrested. So that's a good way to keep it. You keep it small. You keep those guys on there, and if you see four things come off from Adam Schefter like this, and you look, you're like, oh shit, what happened? And it's so and so just got arrested for domestic assault or some shit like that. So that's why I keep that channel kind of small. But in relation to that, guys, I hope the Cowboys can continue doing what they're doing. I think we had an amazing, and it's not over, but I think we're pretty much done. I think we've had an amazing free agency season. I don't disagree with anything we've done so far. I really can't think of anything we've done that I disagree with. We held out on the Demarcus Lawrence thing to about the right time. It looks like, and what I think, Demarcus Lawrence came to the Cowboys to get the deal done, and we knew what his money was, and he knew what our money was, and we sat there for a couple weeks, and we looked at each other across the table, and then the draft was coming, and I really think the draft was coming, and DeMarcus Lawrence said, "Hey, let's get this done, man." And he came, they got the deal done. They got it done where the Cowboys wanted it. The Cowboys kind of won that, but I think DeMarcus Lawrence, of course, wanted to be a Cowboy. Without a doubt, he wanted to be a Cowboy. So we need to continue that precedence. We need to continue doing that when these players come at us with a salary cap. We don't need to let them look at, or a salary situation. We don't need to let them look down the street and see what the neighbor's doing. Well, what's the neighbor paying? What's the neighbor paying Russell Wilson? What's the guy across the street? What are they paying Aaron Rodgers? What are they paying? No, that's not their business. We run our team. We're a running team. We're a defensive team. We need a very good quarterback that's going to win us some Super Bowls. And guys, we're in a window right now. We are in a window to do this for a few years. I really think we're in a 4 or 5 year window where we've got a very good opportunity to make some moves, man. What's up, Don Eaton? How you doing? Welcome to the channel. Canine Cowboy, how you doing? Just getting in here. Go back and watch from the beginning. I had some information on the Demarcus Lawrence, how that was done, start to finish, and so that's what I think we need to do. We need to keep our stuff in-house. We need to keep our players in-house. And if they want to look down the street and see what the other kids on the block are driving, or they want to see what kind of bicycles the other kids down the street are driving, then tell them, if that's what you want, go down the street. Some players will warrant that. Some players won't. Will Ezekiel Elliott, will he warrant getting paid as the number one running back in the league? Yes, he will. I'm one of those guys. I really am tired of them not valuing the running back. They don't value the running back the way they value wide receivers, the way they value quarterbacks. Ezekiel Elliott is a different animal. He really is, guys. He is the backbone of our team. They need to pay him, and they need to pay him. And I'll say this: Dak Prescott doesn't deserve the money like Aaron Rodgers does. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not, one of these top 5 quarterbacks right now. Now, we need to give him his deal, and if he's winning games by his damn self, hey, if he wants to renegotiate, you renegotiate. But Ezekiel Elliott he's killing it, bro. He's limping off the field. He's dragging his ass to the bench. When the offense comes back on, he's dragging his ass to the huddle. He's putting it out there, dude, every damn play. And he's taking hits. He has to block these linebackers. He has to block linemen. He has to pick up defensive ends on blitzes. He has to run between the tackles. The guy needs to be paid, and they need to pay him like no running back has been paid before. And if that takes sacrificing a little money to, our linebackers, or sacrificing a little money to a wide receiver or two, that's what we're going to have to do, guys. And that's just the way it is. Cowboy Crunk, always top off the class. Thank you, brother. Important peace to all the fans, all of us fans. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Very much thank you. If you ever come back to Birmingham, have a free tour guide. Oh, hell yeah. Nottingham too. Thank you very much, brother. And also, what is the I went to a museum there for I told you the names. When I'm doing this, names they don't hit. The detective Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. I was there. I went through his little museum, and I guess the original Sherlock Holmes bar. I don't know if you know where that is. I know that's not in Birmingham. That's in London. That's in London. Yeah. Yeah, I went through there, stayed there for a few days when we were going to visit the attorney. Then we moved over to Birmingham and met with the attorney, and things worked out. But anyways, I appreciate it, guys. I am going to jump off. It's 2 in the morning. Nice conversation with you there, Mark, and the other British guy. Salute. And thank you guys for joining in. Don Eaton, Gene Martz, I think you got here earlier, but I appreciate you jumping in, top of the class. Thank you very much for the comments, guys. Y'all take care. Serious, man. Peace out. Later.